David Wayne DePepe, 42, of Richmond, California, was charged yesterday with assault and attempted murder and attempted kidnapping after he was arrested Friday inside the home of Speaker Pelosi after attacking her husband, Paul Pelosi, with a hammer to the head. Federal prosecutors today said the suspect intended to kidnap Nancy Pelosi and break her kneecaps. The suspect reportedly told police he wanted to torture Nancy Pelosi and make her pay for her lies. The Los Angeles Times is reporting that the suspect left a social media trail of anti-Semitism as well as other far-right conspiracy theories involving COVID, Pizzagate, and war in Ukraine. He is also reportedly a follower of QAnon. So, where do you get the truth about this story? Elon Musk, the owner of Twitter, who is spreading lies that the guy arrested was Paul Pelosi's male prostitute? No. I get my information from newspapers, mainstream media, whose reporters, for the most part, are trained to report what people are saying. The police said this. The FBI said that. Speaker Pelosi's office said this. The lawyer for the accused said that. Reporting. What are people saying? That's what reporting is. It's reporting what people say. What we have passing for journalism these days is conjecture. As in, Dinesh D'Souza thinks this is what happened without any reporting, while Sean Hannity says he thinks this might have been what happened. Or Jesse Waters on Fox News says he thinks this is what happened. They don't pick up a phone. They don't interview anybody. They just think this is what happened because they imagine things. Do you see the difference? Real reporting is telling us what people closest to the story said what happened. Now, is what they say biased? Of course. And do they have an agenda? Of course. So you ask other people to tell you what happened. If Americans still had critical thinking, which we no longer have, we could read a news story from a legitimate news organization and ascertain where the bias is from what people are saying. For example, as something as anodyne as the Speaker's office claiming Paul Pelosi is going to make a full recovery, if you have critical thinking, if a journalist says the Speaker's office says Paul Pelosi is going to make a full recovery, someone in possession of critical thinking is going to say, okay, of course the Speaker is going to say that. They have to be optimistic. But what does the doctor say? What does the hospital say? What does the surgeon say, right? What is Paul Pelosi saying? Can he say anything? That's what reporting is. The police said that. The lawyer said this. The intruder claims this. The victim claims that. That's what reporting is. That's how an informed electorate could make informed decisions about this guy who has been arrested for breaking into the Pelosi mansion and hitting Paul Pelosi over the head with a hammer. We need real reporters. Megyn Kelly once worked at Fox News. Then she went to NBC News, said some racist things about blackface and was fired. And now she has her own radio show on Sirius. She claims to be a reporter. She presents as a reporter. Here she is talking to Senator Tom Cotton today about Paul Pelosi. Now, Senator Tom Cotton is a Republican. He's on Megyn Kelly's show to sell a book he's just written. He's not from San Francisco. He wasn't there when Paul Pelosi was attacked. Doesn't matter. This is Megyn Kelly talking to Senator Tom Cotton, instead talking about what happened to Paul Pelosi. She's talking to Tom Cotton about what happened to Paul Pelosi and not, I don't know, the San Francisco police chief who might actually know something about what happened to Paul Pelosi. Journalism isn't raising questions, asking questions, asking those questions to people who can answer those questions. But this is right-wing media. This is what the right-wing media does. They raise questions into the ether. and try to pass that off as journalism. Here is Megyn Kelly today telling us how she feels about the Paul Pelosi story.
I feel like at a minimum, the SFPD has egg on its face.
You feel that the SFPD, the San Francisco Police Department, has egg on its face. You feel that. No proof, you just feel that. Sirius is paying Megyn Kelly, I don't know, a couple million a year, and she can't spend any of that on an interview with an actual reporter who's covering the Paul Pelosi story. Instead, we get to hear how Megyn says she feels the San Francisco Police Department has egg on its face. Why?
They were in the house when this guy attacked Paul Pelosi with a hammer. I'm not sure how that happened.
You're not sure how that happened. So you feel the San Francisco Police Department has egg on its face because you're not sure how it happened. There's no egg on your face. Again, you could spend the millions Sirius is paying you and fly to San Francisco and ask how all this happened, or interview the police chief, or speak to a reporter who's covering it. But instead, you're talking to Senator Tom Cotton, and you feel the police have egg on their face.
How do you have police officers on site and an 82-year-old gets attacked with a hammer in front of you when you have a gun as a police officer?
Yes. She's asking, how is it possible that Paul Pelosi was hammered while the police were there and they had guns? She's asking, why didn't the police shoot the suspect and kill him on the spot? That's what a right-wing journalist thinks the police should do. A guy has a hammer, kill him. And that works out for the right-wing media because if you kill the suspect and maybe even you miss and you hit Paul Pelosi, people like Megyn Kelly could ask even more reckless questions with abandon, right? The suspect's dead. He can't talk, so you can just ask more questions like why, maybe Nancy Pelosi sent this guy to kill Paul Pelosi because Nancy's having an affair with Gavin Newsom. I guess we'll never find the answer to that question because the police killed him. I mean, the cops shoot the suspect, and if they kill him, the truth can then be whatever you want the truth to be. Like Lee Harvey Oswald and Jack Kennedy. They both get killed, and now whatever happened can be whatever you want it to be. Why didn't the cops shoot the intruder before he hammered Paul Pelosi? That's just, a question that reporter Megyn Kelly is raising.
One of the many questions here.
Questions, because that's how you serve the public, by raising questions, throwing them out into the ether for more people to raise more questions without ever directing them at the people who can actually answer them. Any other questions you'd like to raise?
There are security cameras all over that house. You can see them from the outside. Were they turned on? If not, why not?
You're angry about these questions not being answered. Even though you haven't asked the people who could answer them, why weren't the security cameras not turned on? Or maybe they were turned on. I don't know if they were turned off or turned on. But if they weren't turned on, why not? What are they trying to hide? I don't know. Maybe you could ask someone. I don't know the answer to a question. Why don't I know the answer to a question? What are they covering up? So many unanswered questions that I keep making up.
Let's see it. Let's see it all. I don't know what went on.
Yes, you don't know what went on, so let's see it. See what? You and your team of investigative journalists are going to pour through all the evidence, Megyn Kelly?
There's something going on here that they're not telling us. I just don't know what it is.
And you just don't know what it is. You have an insatiable curiosity. You're like Columbo, and you need to know. You have to know, just not enough to actually ask these questions of anyone who could actually answer them. You need to know. What do you need to know, Megyn Kelly?
I know enough to smell a rat.
Yes, you know enough to smell a rat. Well, that's probably Tom Cotton that you're smelling.
What's disgusting me is the media reaction.
You're disgusted by the media reaction. Like your reaction. You're disgusted by how the media is reacting. What about how the media is reporting? What about the media's reporting? You're only talking about reaction. Who cares how the media reacts? What are they reporting? Well, here's some actual reporting from NBC News. Megyn Kelly, NBC News had fired you. Remember NBC News? Let me play you some investigative reporting from Tom Winter. He's an actual reporter, an investigative journalist with NBC News, the same news gathering operation that fired Megyn Kelly. Here is not a reaction. This is actual reporting from Tom Winter, NBC News.
Done an analysis on DePepe's social media and blog posts over the years. Both law enforcement, our analysis, kind of the same in this regard. But according to our own Ben Collins, really over the last year or so, Chuck, this individual went to the alt-right, far-right type ideology that we've seen, talking QAnon, talking Pizzagate, and then just a lot of very anti-Semitic postings.
She's a Republican. She can only react to the Paul Pelosi story. She can't report on it because it would be embarrassing to people like Megyn Kelly. So all she can do is give a reaction because she's a racist. And she can't react to that because that would suggest the very thing she says played a role in the coarsening of our political dialogue and led to Paul Pelosi ending up in the ICU. She can only traffic in conjecture. She can't report because she would incriminate herself. For example, here is Megyn Kelly a few years back earning her salary on Fox News.
And by the way, for all you kids watching at home, Santa just is white.
Nice. That's what kids should hear. That's what every kid of color should hear, that Santa is white. That was Megyn Kelly on Fox News earning her salary. Here she is losing her salary on NBC News.
And she made her skin look darker than it really is. And people said that that was racist. I don't know how that got racist on Halloween. But what is racist? Because truly, you do get in trouble if you are a white person who puts on blackface on Halloween, or a black person who puts on whiteface for Halloween. Back when I was a kid, that was okay as long as you were dressing up as a character.
You're a racist. NBC, I have problems with MSNBC and NBC, but they have real reporters. Again, I have many problems with NBC, but they do practice something resembling journalism. They report the news. Fox reacts to the news. So if you get your news from Megyn Kelly, all you're left with are manufactured questions to sow doubts about the Pelosi's morality, that he was with a gay lover and it went bad.